Hey guys, welcome to another Cigar Chat brought to you live on CigarFederation.com, broadcast around the world on the Armed Forces Radio Network. Thanks for tuning in wherever you are out there in the world today. Rob from Cigar Federation is with you. As always, out here in rainy, termite-infested California. Logan, how's everything going with you, man?
You got termites, dog. Next thing you know, you're going to be living in an Oto shanty.
They're swarming.
Down by the river.
It was bad time.
I know. Well, yeah, everything's good over here. It's been raining a lot in Austin, Texas. Rained about 8 inches in the last, probably, I'd say 2.5, 3 days. So, not used to that. Truman took a crap in about 3 days because he doesn't want to get his paws all wet. But you know how much of a sissy he is. But other than that, baby's good. Everything's good. I'm ready to learn about some humidification and realize how I've been doing it wrong for the last, 10 years.
Truman held it for 4 days?
3 days. He hadn't taken a poop since the start. He's a Labradoodle. Well, first of all, he's an Australian Labradoodle, which is higher in the food chain of Labradoodles. And you know how he is, man. He's dainty. He gets his hair cut. So he doesn't like to get his bits all wet.
Ruby, our little Cavalier Spaniel, doesn't like to go out in the rain either. Those are the days that she pees in the garage, so we have to pay pretty close attention to her on those days. But anyway, you guys didn't tune in to hear about our dog's bowel movements. You tuned in to hear about some humidification. We've got Havana Controls here to tell us all. You guys, I don't know if you watched the interview that we did with these guys at IPCPR. You guys are all going to learn something today, and I know I'm going to learn something too. So, yeah. So again, Havana Controls. Michael, how's everything going, man?
It's going excellent. Yeah.
We're doing all right. We're doing okay. So I know you're half the team. Your better half is on the way, from what I understand, right?
Apparently.
Apparently, theoretically, that's all right. You can handle the show on your own. So, tell us a little bit about the idea behind Havana Controls. I mean, it's a relatively new company, and you guys have put a whole lot of research and time into this. So, give everybody kind of the abridged background version.
Sure. Really. We've been doing this for, and this is building custom humidor control for just over 7 years now. And we started from a research perspective, just making our own units, and it was treating it like an art. Like guys, the manufacturers, the rollers, everyone puts so much time into a cigar, and I'm up in Canada. And there's no such thing as good humidity in Canada. So how do I make sure we were doing the best thing possible to protect our cigars, to make them store long, well, and have them like they would be from the factory? And so we started doing a whole whack of different kinds of things, from buying these big ass control chambers to see, I have a $45,000 environmental chamber that's designed to keep things at perfect 70%. What comes out of it? We started researching moisture content and what size of humidor is better than another, or does it really matter? And it turned out we ended up building these large-scale industrial humidors for guys with lots of money. And well, after a while, we started to realize that we could use a lot of this science and a lot of the math that we'd figured out to start building more reasonably priced systems. And that's what's really happened in the last year, where we started designing what we call the Luxador. And it's sort of our first attempt at a true turnkey, all bells, all whistles humidor control system for any size humidor up to about 1,600 square feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Logan, go ahead.
Question. So, we talked at IPCPR, and I'm kind of a data guy a little bit, and I like nerdy things. So, really, there's two types of humidity, right? There's passive and there's active. You guys are definitely in the active side of that. But, I think there's a lot of misconceptions around, hey, I've properly calibrated my hygrometers, I've put the little salt test, I've done all this and that. But really, that's only half of the story. What I found really interesting after hearing about your product and hearing about what you guys do, it's not really necessarily, and I think it's just a different shift in paradigm where it's not, hey, my humidity level is 70% or 67% or whatever it is. It's more about the moisture content level in your cigar. Can you talk about how kind of that concept, because that's what I think is very novel and unique.
Exactly. So, when we started doing this kind of work, we realized that, what are we measuring? Like relative humidity, it's measuring the amount of air, amount of moisture in the air, to really simplify it. And we don't care about that. I don't care about the humidor, I care about the cigar. So we ended up doing a lot of reverse engineering and from just what do I like in a cigar? Like is it what do I like? Is it from a wetness perspective, dryness perspective? What is the moisture content that I like? And we found out it was coming in at like 13.5%, sometimes 14%. And then in a lot of the tobacco, basically tobacco research papers from different universities, we're finding like at 13% moisture content is the optimum withdrawal of nicotine from a cigar. And really from most tobaccos, but cigar tobacco particularly. And what's neat about that is, so science will tell you 13%, you're going to get the best bang for your buck from a nicotine point of view. But then what blew our minds was, as a smoker, as we started getting into the moisture content testing stuff, is you actually have a personal opinion of what you like. And it's a little dry, it's like 12.5 or 12% or 14%, and so you actually have within a 0.5 tolerance, you have your own desire. And then even I'll use the word weirder as a comment. We found that Cuban tobacco versus Nicaraguan, I actually enjoy it at a different level. And so it opened our eyes to a whole new world of, well, we've been managing the humidor, but not the cigar. So really our endeavors have been just trying to raise awareness about moisture content and trying to make more accessible ways of the average person trying to understand what moisture content they like.
Okay. So I find it extremely fascinating, and like there's a lot of cool facts. I don't want to drop like the facts and the figures yet, because we got to save the good stuff. But like from a standpoint, I mean, you made a good point. Is that people were managing, you're managing your humidity versus kind of managing the cigar. Like, how is that different than what you guys do? Like, I mean, how is your setup and product manage the cigar itself versus managing the humidity?
Yeah, so we have a couple different kinds of systems. We have our, I'll call it our luxury HC1 system, which actually uses a moisture resistor. That is essentially a proxy for a cigar. So the really crappy thing about doing moisture content in a cheap way is that you got to grind up a cigar. For us in the background, you probably can't see it, but we got a little control chamber and a bunch of environmental testing equipment and a magic bullet. If you want to know the moisture content of cigar, you grind it up, you scoop it into this little moisture content meter, and the scale will evaporate the moisture and it'll tell you what you had there. Great for accuracy, but sucks from having to smoke the leftovers. So we built essentially this resistive sensor that sat in as the proxy for the cigar and absorbed and let go of moisture at the same linear rate as a cigar. So it was a stand-in, and it was a stand-in that actually worked pretty good. We were getting, typically get 0.5 to 0.25% moisture content accuracy on a wide variety of sizes of cigars. So we could actually do it one-on-one. The challenge with that particular sensor is like it costs a fair amount of money. I guess the sensors are tens of thousands of dollars.
Okay.
But
out of my budget.
Sorry?
Out of my budget.
That's it. Out of most people's budget. But after working with these things for a couple years and doing data logging every day, we realized that with a shit ton of math, we could figure it out. So understanding the size of the humidor, the kinds of inputs and outputs, again, the size of the humidification device, the dehumidification device, the heating, the cooling, the fans, and most importantly, the cigars, we could actually do the math and do a relative prediction for a system under $1,000, under $2,000, something that you could actually build into a humidor. That, again, I'm not the average guy off the street who has one smoke a day or one smoke a week. I'm a collector. I'm somebody who's keeping stuff long term, or I'm a retail store who really cares about their clients. That's sort of the system we were able to build called Luxador. So it was about taking all that knowledge and research and getting it down to the point where you can now understand from a reference point when a cigar is ready to smoke. So it was about dialing it in and then being able to say, well, no matter where I get my cigar from, like, I got a stick in the mail the other day. Well, I don't know where it came from, how dry or wet it is, but once I put it in my humidor, how long does it take before my humidor will acclimatize a cigar and I'll get something I like to smoke? Be it 2 days, 10 weeks, 3 months, whatever. But we started to build a system that actually, from an iPhone app and a web app, could tell you the basics of good cigar management instead of humidor management.
Okay. Well, we've got a few minutes before our first break, and I wanted to ask you this because I find this super interesting. Is people talk about, when it comes to, kind of, it's related to, storing cigars, but, there's always the constant debate of, well, do I leave the cello on? Do I take the cello off? Am I like Logan and I'm like weird and I don't take the cello off, but I clip a lot of it so the foot's exposed? What do I do? And I know that on the stuff that I'm saving long term, I do.
Really?
Because I feel like to get more airflow in it, but also it's kind of still protected, so it's kind of like a quasi-used Jimmy hat or something. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of protecting it. That doesn't really work. That was a bad analogy. But anyways, moving on. No laughs from Rob on that one. And I know that you've done some research on this specific topic. So answer for everyone, based on copious amounts of data, should you leave your cello on and off, and if you leave it on or take it off, and why?
Okay. So let's start off with personal preference. I'll weasel my way out of the answer quickly, which is everyone's going to have their own preference. But that being said, a couple of different tests we did. We literally, for the lack of a better term, we basically destroyed about 3,000 sticks answering that kind of question. And we came up with a couple of consistent truths. And what it was is, if I'm going to smoke the cigars in the next 30 days, take the cello off. You're going to get the best ability for moisture to be absorbed in the cigar, the flavors from your humidor to marry. And if there was any sort of problem with the cigar before it came in, it's going to have the best chance to be corrected or to show up. So again, that's the bad side. Is like if there's a mold problem and it was in the cello, the moment you crack that cello off, well, you've introduced the problem to the whole family. But smoke it soon, I recommend cello off. Long-term storage, as in within the year, keep the cello on. And the main reason was that we kept on seeing was humidor crashes or mold blooms, where it's essentially like acting like a quarantine for a lot of the nasty things you don't want. But when you had humidors crash, like and you went away for a week and you ran out of moisture, the basin's empty and all that kind of stuff, the cellophane locks the moisture in for a longer period of time. Basically, depending on the humidor, 4 to 6 days, you get a sort of a safety breach. So it's not going to be perfect when you get back home, but it's going to be way better condition than if you left it dry for a week. So within a year, keep it on. Last thought is, if you're really a serious collector, you got sticks you're going to keep for many, many years, you'll want to take the cello off somewhere in that 12 to 14 month period. And you'll start to see yellowing on the cellophane. You're going to start to see, really different kinds of evaporate, occurring, different oils coming out, and it starts to stain the cello. And that you don't want that. You're going to get, of course, depending on the kind of cellophane used, you're going to get flavors from the cellophane locked in there, and you're just doing the cigar a disservice. So keep it on. And that midterm, so off, on, off is the way I always think about it. And it's, again, it's a little bit of personal preference, but in my mind, the biggest thing was, if you have a crash, are you going to have that safety measure available for you?
Yes.
So in a way, it's almost like having a like a backup battery. If you're working on your computer, you're in the middle of a project, the power goes out, the backup battery kicks in, you don't lose everything that you've done. In a way, that's what I took from that.
I was thinking like double wrapping your Jimmy.
Sorry?
Double wrapping your junk on a girl that may or may not be just the highest quality.
Yeah, you don't know her history.
You don't know where she's been.
You don't get any enjoyment when you double wrap. Come on now.
Hey now.
We're in a weird rabbit hole here, so on the other side of this break, we'll get back into talking about some serious stuff. All right, guys, we'll be right back after this message. Hey guys, welcome back to Cigar Chat, brought to you live on CigarFederation.com. Broadcast around the world, the Armed Forces Radio Network. Thanks for tuning in wherever you are. We are here with Havana Connections, or Havana Controls. I always say that. What is Havana Connections? It's a store, right? I think it's a store. I always get. Sorry, Havana Controls. I apologize. I'm going to go back and edit that part out. We're here with Havana Controls, talking about humidification, and that thing you said about Cello.
We're not going to do a read, jerk.
Oh yeah, this next segment's brought to us by Logan. Let's see, Project Manana.
Well, that wasn't the one I was going to pick right now, but I'll do two then. It's actually two. One, Havana Controls. Not only is on Cigar Chat with us tonight, but they are doing a really cool giveaway. They're going to be doing some different promotions to align with the public launching of their company or going to market of their product. If you come to CigarFederation.com, we'll put up a banner or something to make it easy for you, but look in the forum under the Cigar Weasel corner, and you'll see a raffle copter. Click on that, and by joining their mailing list and doing some other stuff, you can be entered for the monthly giveaway for a $250 gift card to the Cigar Federation store. Second off, Project Manana, we are 1 week away from being done. I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but we've got something absolutely epic planned for next week. You don't want to miss it. We're at 55% of our goal. Appreciate all the donations and all the love, but we need more money. So bring out your checkbooks next week. Back to you, Rob.
I don't even know what the big thing is next week. So
you don't.
You piqued my interest.
It's going to be, I don't want to say it's going to be huge and everyone will be like, this sucks. But, I think it's going to be pretty cool.
Good tease. So we're going to have some additional giveaways, I would assume, maybe some side
A big one.
So that's cool. So back to what we were talking about. When you mentioned the discoloration of the cello, and I always see guys who will post up a picture, oh, look at this cello, this is awesome because the cigar's so old, blah, blah, blah. And it's always been it seems like it's a badge of honor. But from what you're saying, it's actually a negative.
Yeah, it's what's happening at that point is, again, all the things that have been trying to leave the cigar are I'll use the word baked in, and that's not an accurate word, but all the nasty plastic shit that you don't actually want in your cigar has had a chance now to mingle in there. It's not getting the right level of moisture. At that point, during that kind of phase, it's been trying to get rid of moisture, it's getting rid of evaporant, and it's not a happy camper. Like if you see that in your cello, you have a situation that cigar is in less than optimum from all the things that could have been in it that you would like to smoke. Again, oversimplifying, I apologize, but yeah, it is not something you want. If you look at a really expensive control chamber, not that you want to keep your cigars in a fancy control chamber, but you can leave a cigar in cello, in the dark, in one of those things at perfect 70, perfect 70-70, and you will not get that characteristic 24, even 36 months down the road. So it's about something in the environment's changed to the detriment of the cigar. So it's something to look out for.
So it's that negative energy that's trying to get away. I'm paraphrasing, but that's in my head. That's all the I don't know. Now I'm thinking about my wife and I are knee deep in
Termites.
Breaking Bad. So it's like at the end of their cook, when they're sucking all that stuff out, that's all the stuff that's staying in.
Yeah.
To put it into a weird, I don't know anything about what they're really.
I think the thing is it's the stuff coming out of the cigar, again, like the oils specifically. There's some great flavor in there, and that's you start looking at why, in my opinion, cigar aging like 10+ years doesn't catch on. Is because you don't get a lot of flavor in those sticks. Like you're looking for a milder stick, you're looking for a milder experience than you would have had 10 years in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have that cello on, the thing that scares me the most is that cello getting into the cigar. And that's the paranoid part where it's, what, I never wanted that in there. Why the hell am I keeping it on there to intermingle something? Yeah, not worth it.
Okay, fair enough. No, that's just interesting, and I don't really have. This promoted a lot of conversation in the chat room. A lot of people are saying I keep it on, I take it off. I don't really have a preference. I just put stuff in my humidor. If it's got cello on there, it usually stays on. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. But I don't go out of my way to go in one direction or the other. I think I did when I first started, and that was a question that I would ask a lot of people: do you keep it on? Do you take it off? For the most part, I kept it on just to keep the cigars from getting cracked or
Protection.
just for protection. Yeah, I wasn't. I was keeping it on for prophylactic purposes.
There you go.
Okay.
You know where it's going to go.
It was, well, I mean, this is a good use of the word. But, yeah, I never really put too much thought into it. But, no, that's interesting to think about it that way. A couple of questions here. This one's from Jason. Jason Macchioni.
He's new, I think.
I think that's how you say it, Jason Macchioni. He wants to know about your cigar history and your experience. How long have you been smoking cigars? How did you get involved with cigars, just in general?
I guess probably a bit more embarrassing than most, but would have been 15 years old. Going to a drinking party, went to the local 7-Eleven and bought the driest, biggest Churchill I could possibly find, and promptly choked that thing down.
Nice.
And it was horrible. Again, it didn't have any bloody clue what a cigar should be like. But I choked it down, and I came back for more. And it was probably really just shitty cigar experiences probably until about 18, 19, and then went to my first lounge here in town, Thomas Hines, and just started to actually just do the herb, meet the guys, smoke some good cigars, and really get into it. And then from there, just went overboard. Like for me, just as a part of business, love smoking cigars all the time, and then just started getting into, I'll call it the appreciation of it. It's one of those things where I find, like I said, guys put a shit ton of time to put their entire lives and livelihoods into these things. Well, what exactly do they want me to do? How they want me to smoke it, and that kind of thing. So again, just sitting in the forums, sitting online, reading the magazines, just trying to hear from guys that are in the industry what they want to do, how they treat it, and that's been a couple of decades now.
A couple decades? You don't look old enough.
So puberty's going to come one day.
Once puberty hits, that thing's really going to kick in.
Game's over.
One more question. It's Jason Macchioni. Macchioni, I think I got that right. Tell us about the name of the company, Havana Controls. Where did that come from?
Well, for us, the same thing is, we wanted to do one thing, we wanted to do one thing well, and that was the control systems. Like, there's tons of great kind of humidor companies out there and cigar companies, and for us, it was about building like a control system for a humidor and the control systems for smoke rooms. So it was control, and that was it. So when we started looking at it, you'll see the logo, it's kind of like a power button. I don't know, that's maybe coming out. But yeah, it was just about really taking, I keep on using the word science. It's about, good engineering, good science. I'm not just doing something because it looks good or feels good, sounds good. We're trying to get as many facts as we can about why we're doing something. And we're trying to take things with a grain of salt, which is I know how to do things expensively, like if from a like the smoke room I'm sitting in, this was an expensive experiment. But once we've taken that lesson learned, like how do we make it cheaper, better, faster, stronger, and just realize, like not everyone's going to want to do it, the best scientific way possible. That sometimes Tupperware works, but why? For how long? And that's the kind of shit we want to get into. So that's it. Somebody said I can swear while I got the jacket on, so I'm going to continue to do so.
Yeah, we forgot to tell you not to, but that's all right. Logan will go back and edit it out.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
So do you have do you come from a science background?
Yeah. So it's funny. So science household growing up, university computer science. My first career has been in information security. So it's like audit and governance, and we spent a lot of time auditing large-scale control systems for industry, healthcare, and then tobacco. So we did a lot of gigs with companies that had large-scale tobacco warehouses and those types of things. And so yeah, it was interesting about. It was always about what about monitoring, what about industrial control is actually protecting the asset. In this case, being a cigar, or being anthrax, or being a casino. It was all about just trying to manage and measure. So yeah, like, science and audit has been a major part of my background.
I was on mute. Another rookie mistake. Logan, what's going on, dude? You got me making rookie mistakes over here.
Dude, I just got you in a natural rookie environment, which I don't even have to do anything. I just sit there and say nothing, watch you make mistakes, son. Maybe it's that fight or stuff there, Sherlock.
No,
how is life working out there for you?
It's good. It's good. It's funny. Someone was asking me about it, and I don't want to get sidetracked too much. James was asking me in the chat room how I liked it, if it was smoking well, and I said, it's smoking great. I don't really know the difference between this and like a $2 pipe, but I like it.
Yep.
And it's got the little thing down here where I got the cherry flavored stuff in there, and then this is a different flavor. It tastes pretty damn good.
Amen.
Beyond that, so Logan, let's get back into some of these questions. You want to take some of these audience questions?
Are you asking me if I'd like to take some of them?
Yeah, why don't you jump in?
Why don't I do that? Well, I can't take that one. It sounds stupid. Shared grot, we've already asked the question, so sorry. All right, here's the question. Well, let's just do the break, and then we'll come back about that.
Okay. All right, guys, we'll get into some of the audience questions right on the other side of this break. Hey guys, welcome to the Cigar Chat, brought to you live on CigarFederation.com, broadcast around the world on the Armed Forces Radio Network. Thanks for tuning in wherever you are out there in the world today. Here with Havana Controls, talking about humidification, and we're really going to get into this, and we're going to get more into the crux of what everything we're talking about here in a few minutes. We'll take some audience questions too. But Logan, this last segment brought to us by who?
This last segment's brought to us by Proxy Manana. Get ready next week. Epic hashtag awesome.
Okay, and it's also brought to us also by Maya Selva Cigars.
I forgot about that.
Sponsoring the show tonight. They gave us some giveaways, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. Maya Selva Cigars. I believe it's MayaSelvaCigars.com. MAYASELVA. So they are, like I said, sponsoring the second half of the show. So let's, Logan, you were going to get into some of these audience questions.
Yeah, I was going to ask. We haven't really talked about the product per se. We've talked about the concept. We've talked about some identification things. Let's talk about, what product will you be launching here in short order, and what are the price ranges look like, and who are the kind of target demographics for those products?
Yeah, well, so the Luxador control system is what we've actually launched. You can go to luxadorhumidors.com and check out sort of the intro video and the turnkey systems, and then sort of the do-it-yourself kind of breakdown of accessories and tools. The turnkey systems are really designed for I'll call it the retailer kiosk. You know, if you're a humidor, so you're a cigar store owner yourself, you want to have a maintenance-free unit, you can buy one of our custom-built units. You're a high-end, collector. They're really designed to be maintenance-free. So they have, we do humidification, dehumidification, heating, cooling. There's UV filtration, fresh air ventilation, autofill, auto drain on the ultrasonic water basins. We have a bead basin control as well, like auto stir, auto fill. And then you can actually literally tie it into your home system. You have like a control form or a kind of home automation system. You can actually have it tie in there. And there's a web app, and there's an iPhone app, and a whole whack more. So we designed it to be the overkill of control systems, where anything you want to do in your humidor, you can do it. We have the turnkey systems, which have those set up in different sizes and systems. And then we have the do-it-yourself kits, which really are designed for any sized humidor. So we've got that little unit you want to do at home. You can set things up and just integrate it custom in there. Or literally, if you have really what the key thing is you have that little room at home, that little closet at home, and you want to turn that into a kick-ass humidor, you can integrate the control system and have it run the whole room.
Whoa.
So put in the steam humidifier, all that stuff, all tied in all the time.
Wow.
That's what I need.
That is a juicer.
That is what you need. Logan, let's get you set up with one of those.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this. It's amazing how much your disposable income goes down once you have a baby. Let me just say that. It's pretty epic, actually. Like it's kind of a shocker. So just food for thought out there for people contemplating kids. Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
So we've got some of the audience questions seem to range from tips and tricks. How can I maintain steady humidity in my humidor? Independent of the product that you guys make, and I actually didn't really. I should have thought of this. I didn't really see those kinds of questions coming. Is that some kind of stuff that we want to talk about, or? Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are questions. Okay. I should have asked you that offline.
So keep on saying cost here. So cost. The do-it-yourself kits really range right now from about $1,200 to about $2,500. If you go for like every single accessory device you want. The cool thing was we made it modular, and really this is the luxury market. So we wanted to do the most possible in the first retail release, and over the next 2 years we got literally there's about 15 different lower cost items we're coming out with, or like autofill, auto drain water basins, like some custom bead basin stuff. So we're trying right now with the Luxador units. It's all about sort of $1,000 to about $5,000 price range, and it's from a competition standpoint. We look at it is if you were serious about buying like a Liebherr XS200, it's a kick-ass little unit, but it holds like 2 boxes of cigars. We tried to make sure that you could have all the quality of that kind of system just in a way bigger humidor. So that's sort of what we were trying to do, and again, it's about building those rooms. But that being said, like it's like for us, it's what can you do in your humidor now? A couple of key things I find people don't realize is airflow is critical, and they'll overstuff their humidors where like you can set this 2,000 count, I'll stick 4,000 sticks in there. I literally can't get a box in sideways, and it's overkill. You can't get the airflow, you can't get the cigars breathing. So you want to have a little bit of airflow all the time, and I mean a little bit, like the little 40 millimeter fans blowing on a consistent sort of up and down basis. Mm-hmm. And you can think of humidity like water in there, right? So it's going to want to sink to the bottom. You want your fans to push it up and rain it down. You can come up with 1,000 different ways of doing that, but you want a little bit of circulation. So cheap fans go a long way. Another thing is a dehumidifier. People don't understand this. Like they'll buy a beautiful unit, and then they never bother dealing with 80% humidity or 85 as the thing goes overkill in certain seasons. So go find the little $20, $70, $80 little dehumidifier, get it in there, so at least you're keeping things at 70 for better or worse. Like, right, you're not going under, you're not going over. You don't have to spend a lot of money, but it changes your long-term storage way for the better. You don't get any of that cracking. From there, it's about maintenance. And I find a lot of guys literally will never rotate their stuff. Like, I'll keep the boxes on the bottom, or my sticks on the bottom are always going to have more, like a higher humidity content, especially if it's a big tower unit. The moisture's going down. It's going to sink towards the bottom, especially if I'm using a steam or an ultrasonic unit. So I need that airflow, and if I don't want over-moist cigars in the bottom, I want to rotate those boxes at least every 3 months. So again, really cheap things to do, but it'll go a long way in making your smoking experience way better.
So we got to be a little more hands-on. A lot of the stuff that you said, I'm just as guilty of that as everybody else. I mean,
I am probably too, a little bit.
I cram as much as I can into my humidor, and
I got a fan though.
I do get in there and move things around a lot because I tend to not know where anything is, so I'm reaching in the back. But I don't take stuff from the bottom shelf and bring it up to the top. Although I've only got one of the those more squat units with about 1,500 cigars in it. So it's probably not the same as Logan's. I mean, you've got the tower, so you should be rotating stuff up and down. That's a lot of stuff that I've never really thought about. I think I was a lot more hands-on when I was first starting, when I had 2 or 3, a 50 count desktop and maybe like 150 count, and I would get in there and rotate them and things like that. But with the inventory that I've got now, and there's guys, most of the guys watching probably have more inventory than I do. I don't get in and do that as much.
And that's the challenge, right? It's like when you start off with that small humidor and you baby it every day, you're in and out of there, you're checking humidity, you're stirring it up. You're going to have a good time. Like, you're going to know when the stick gets too dry, you're going to deal with it, you're hopefully you're just going to smoke the hell out of them before you have a problem. But as you build that inventory, yeah, it's just there's more to do. It's hell for me. I don't know if anyone does fish tanks, but like, you think of a saltwater fish tank as hobbies, like you end up throwing the thing out after a couple of years because you can't keep on fixing and maintaining the thing. And with your cigars, you're doing that with tens of thousands of dollars of assets, right? Like, if you have a couple thousand sticks on hand, again, if you have a couple thousand sticks, you have a couple thousand good sticks. If you don't take that time to maintain it or do some kind of automation, you're not going to have a good time.
Yeah, that's in a way, it's almost like your relationship with your girlfriend, or wife, or whatever. When you first meet, you're really hands-on, right? And you're really attentive. And as guys, we take things for granted. We get lazy. I'll speak for myself. I take things.
Oh, Ali was telling me this the other day. So this is very true.
Yeah, and really, you can think about it the same way. The fish tank analogy.
You don't take me out enough.
The what?
She's like, you don't take me out enough. We don't go anywhere anymore. I mean, it's kind of like the
I
cigars,
really
right?
thought you said something else, bro.
No, man. I'm not, dude, this is a family-friendly show, bro.
Anywho, the fish tank analogy is good. I had fish tanks when I was in high school and in college, and it's especially when you start talking about saltwater, it's a lot of work. You're testing all those different levels and everything. But now I'm starting to feel guilty. Like, I want to go in and rotate all my cigars now. So it's kind of a good thing.
Well, that's it. Like, we got a blog post we got on the Luxador Humidors site. The blog post that has all the considerations that we sort of think about on a regular basis. From monitoring on a regular basis to like taking off the cello. And a big thing I find is, if you're going to make a decision to store something long term, like you're not going to smoke it right now, yeah, like just take some time to care for it, right? Where what makes me cringe is the guy who spent $500 on a box, like this kick-ass box we're never going to get again, and it's sitting in some Tupperware. It's just the most depressing thing I've ever seen. Like, right?
Just who that is? You know who that person is? I'm going to call him out right now. Seth Guys. Seth Guys will buy boxes. I mean, he's got like, I mean, these aren't like $500 boxes, but he's got an original box of Cohiba, the heat case he's never opened. I mean, he's got like boxes and boxes of rare stuff. I'm like, dude, do you have this? He's like, oh yeah, I got a whole box. And that's all he does, man, is he's got about 6 Tupperwares, like big 18-gallon Tupperwares, and he's got Bovita packs just stacked up like it's a job. And he just rocks it till the wheels fall off. So.
I'll admit, a lot of the stuff that we brought home from IPCPR, it's still in the same Ziplocs that it was in when I brought it home. But they all have...
It's in your humidor, right?
No, a lot of them are still in the Ziplocs, but they still have their little the Bovita pack in there, and I check and make sure the Bovita pack is still there. But they have
humidor in the back there. That's all the trappings from IPCPR. And I said they went in the humidor right away, baby. Those things are gotta take care of them.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, most of it has been smoked and reviewed already, but
yeah, most of it. Well, I got a question. Quick question for me is that I mean I've got in my I'll admit I have a Cigar Aces, XL2 or whatever. Yeah, it works. It works. And I have a couple of little fans. Well, and dispel this myth for me. And I heard this from a guy in the industry that I won't name his name, but very well-known cigar manufacturer. I think anyone in this world, if I said his name, would say, I trust this guy. And he was telling me, he has a tower as well, and he was saying, Logan, the cigars that, because everyone has great cigars, the ones you're saving, the boxes, and then you have, like, from your Cigars International days, you got bundles of crap that you're never going to smoke, but you can't help to throw them away. He's like, if you're going to age something, he goes, even if you have a fan in there, the humidity in just a normal unit is going to be higher at the bottom where the unit sets versus the top. I mean, it's just going to naturally happen. And he goes, the cigars that you want to seriously age, like you're not going to smoke for a couple years, he goes, put those up at the top. And he's like, because with those, you want them to be at a little bit lower humidity in your unit, and that'll be the lowest part in your humidor. Because when cigars age, they actually age better at a little bit lower humidity rate.
That's very true.
Okay.
Yeah, that's bang on. And it's what's low? 65 is low. If you're at 62, I'm scared for you. So 65, 67, that's good, that's low. But just keep in mind, the other thing that people forget is temperature. Don't keep it too cool. So the other guy, especially when the guys age, they'll go find the humidor in the basement, stick it in there, and you'll end up with this low temperature. And low temperature, even in the 65 range, you can get mold really fast.
Oh.
So you'll want to keep it at least room temperature as you're storing for those long periods. Like, don't go haywire. I know, you can buy units that cool now, or you got a coolador and you put in the thermoelectric. Try to keep things around room temperature. There's no need to freeze them, and stay away from that mold zone.
Okay.
Good tips. So we're at the end of our AFRN segment, correct, Logan?
We are.
Cool. Guys, thanks for tuning in to another Cigar Chat. We appreciate your support. Havana Controls, breaking down everything, and I need to go rotate and massage my cigars now. I feel like I've been neglecting them big time. So Mike, thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate it, for taking all the questions. There's still a bunch to get to, so hopefully we'll be able to get to some of those. Maybe we can post some of these answers on the site, because I know this is stuff that people really want to follow up on. But we do appreciate it. Let everybody know where they can find you online so they can get some more information about your product.
Absolutely. HavanaControls.com and LuxadorHumidors.com.
Perfect. And Logan, we'll be back next week. We're on Tuesday with Morales, correct?
Right, and I will not be there because I will be in the air.
Oh, well, it's either going to be I'll either be solo or it'll be me and the other Canadian.
I think we bring in the tuna.
Oh no, we're not doing the tuna.
Let's bring in the tuna.
No tuna.
No
All right,
tuna.
guys, appreciate the support. Thanks a lot. You can find us at CigarFederation.com. Everybody, stay safe.
Sure.
And we're fucking back in the final segment where I get to cuss all time. And yes, I was making sexual jokes about cello being condoms because it's made out of plastic. Isn't that what condoms are made out of? I mean, I haven't used one in a while.
Latex.
Obviously, I'm a baby. Latex.
Rubber. That's why they're called rubbers.
It's still made out of oil, isn't it? Gas, petroleum.
Sure.
Sure. Anyways, go fuck yourself, Rob. All right, on to the last segment, which is my favorite. Rob, apparently we have some giveaways tonight that I wasn't even aware of, and you apparently worked your magic. Why don't you tell everyone about those?
Yeah, we talked with our buddy Gabriel over at Maya Selva Cigars. Gabriel used to be with Coots. And Maya Selva is a brand that's been around for a little while, and Gabriel is on board now to spread the word a little bit. It was a company that I wasn't familiar with, but anyway, we're going to have them on the show later this year, I think in November. But we didn't have a giveaway tonight because, I mean, we tried to give away one of the Luxador humidors, but that just wasn't going to happen. So
you're not worth $5,000, guys.
yeah, I mean, Logan tried really hard, but you know, we appreciate that. But we've got 3 of these 6-pack indispensables samplers that come in a nice box, really nice display. 2 of each of the Maya Selva blends. So we've got 3 of those to give away, and we can do that, Logan, in any way that you see fit.
I want to
ask Jimmy, there are lambskin condoms, but I don't think they protect against STDs as well.
Yeah, the pores in them are too big. It's a little getting up in there. Like my little analogy that if I could get up in there.
I don't know what that means.
That's like the STD swimming through the condoms.
Awesome.
Okay, we're going.
I'm so glad we're talking about this.
I know, dude. It's fucked up. Anyway,
STD since I was in college.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you something that you might not know about me.
I don't.
Because I got 100% on my sexual education test when I was in 6th grade. Like, I passed that bitch with flying colors. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So if you need to ask questions, Rob, I'm ready. Anyways, let's just do something simple and easy. Because I really don't want to have to. Because I'm going to be traveling next week. I'm going to India probably in the next month, so I don't want to fuck around with anything. I don't want to read off anything tonight. So maybe the first 3 people that can email me, and there's no podcast giveaway. Sorry, there's not enough. Attend the show live next time. Email me, Logan at Cigar Federation, and put, Maya Selva Cigars in the subject line, and in the body, your full name and email address, and then say talking about Michael's smoking jacket, who, when you think of someone who wears a smoking jacket at all times and is known for this, the name of that person. And the first 3 people that do that correctly will win.
You remember the show where I wore a smoking jacket?
I do remember that.
That was our first show with Paul Stulak. I think our only show. We only had Paul on once.
We've only, well, we tried to have him on once, and he had, internet problems or iPad problems.
That's right.
And then he was sitting in that pit chair, and it was, one of my favorite shows because he's such a quiet guy. But Paul's like a fine wine. Once you kind of open him up and let him breathe
out a little bit.
Oh, dude, he's fucking awesome. But you just take some time. You gotta let that guy breathe a little bit.
Yeah, I was wearing my father-in-law's velvet smoking jacket.
You were in North Carolina, weren't you? Then?
Yeah, we were out in North Carolina. Man, that was the day before the 49ers beat the Packers in the playoffs. I got rip-roaring drunk that day. Oh, it was so bad. In the middle of the 3rd quarter, because I was just having a great time. I was there with my whole family. We were having a good time. And my father-in-law just brought me half a bottle of Crown Royal. Just put it in a paper bag and just brought me half the bottle. I was just drinking straight out of the bottle. Tearing it up. I had a rough day the next day. But I don't heal the way I used to. I'm getting old.
Harley Holmes, you are a winner.
Harley Holmes is a winner. So did we get to all these questions? We've got a few more minutes.
No, we got a few more minutes. Let's ask away, my friend.
Let me. I'll scroll through. You check your email, and I'll find a question here for us.
Oh, that's not really the right answer.
So, Michael, we talked about this a little bit. I know we touched on it. Punch Nubbit's curious about the 13% humidity of the cigars. How is the actual cigar's relative humidity measured as opposed to measuring the humidity of the space that it's being stored in? I mean, I know that's one of the main components of what you guys are doing.
Okay, so how do you measure moisture content?
Mm-hmm.
There's direct methods and indirect methods. The direct methods actually means destroying the cigar. you know, the cheapest way, and probably the most inaccurate way, is to go find yourself like a $30 like wood moisture tester at like Lowe's or something. And I think that those moisture testers, they're a little prong, you can put it up here. They're designed for wood. They're not good for measuring tobacco. So in a laboratory setting, what the guys do is they actually have moisture content scales. You take the cigar, grind it up, take a couple grams of it, and you put it into the scale, and it literally, it's like an oven. It burns off the moisture and measures the difference until it stabilizes. And from that, it calculates how much moisture was in the cigar. So that's how you do it in the direct method. From that, you can actually, so really what it comes down to is it's the moisture shows up in the weight of the cigar. So after doing literally thousands of tests, we figured out it's a mathematical way. Like you have a little onboard computer, you have to have onboard inventory management, you have to have like a little bit of knowledge about all the little like the size of the humidor, amount of sticks in the humidor, the output of the humidification devices and that kind of stuff, and you can get a reasonable mathematical prediction of what's in the cigar. So that's what we're doing in the retail units. And the other option is you have a sensor that actually absorbs moisture itself. So I call it a proxy. But really, it's a resistive, porous sensor that sucks up moisture. And as it has more moisture, it has a different resistive sense, different conductivity. So that you can actually measure what that proxy is doing and then make an educated guess of what's in the cigar. Is it perfect? No. Is it better than looking at the relative humidity of the humidor? Hell yes. It's just about doing something that lets you smoke cigars at the end of the day.
Huh. Yeah, this is all over my head, man.
Yeah, it's way over my pay grade. All right, so we got a couple more winners here. Congratulations, Jason Myers. You are a winner. And it looks like, even though James Blade's answer is incorrect, I want to pick it, but I'm not going to. His answer was, "You pimp." I'm like, nah, dog, it ain't me. It ain't me, bro. And it looks like Michael P. Stewart is winning. The answer, so we have Harley Holmes. Who else do we have? I already forgot. Jason Myers and Michael Stewart. The answer we were looking for, kids, was Hugh Hefner.
What was the question?
I said, who? You're a fucking asshole.
No, I know.
That's all right. Be an ass. Be an ass. Anyways, so I think we've been here about an hour, and you were coughing. Are you not over your sickness yet, son?
Sorry?
Are you not over your chest congestion?
No, I'm good. The cough is still lingering, as they do. Like, everything just kind of lingers a little bit longer when you get older,
That's what they say about herpes, man.
Well, that's with you forever like luggage. But if you go and you play golf, and the next day your back's a little bit sore, when you're like 25, you're fine. But now it's like, man, for a week, I'm like, what did I do to my back?
You're like down to the count. It's true.
I was driving the ball 310 yards. That's what I did to my back.
Whoa, there you go.
So what did I do in the wrong fairway?
Wow.
Yeah. No, last time I played, I was actually hitting the ball really well. I was not driving at 310 yards. We played in a golf tournament. We played one every year for my old roommate who passed away, and I got paired up with this other group. And God, one of the guys that we were paired with, it's a scramble, so you're playing best ball. And I'd get up and I'd hit a drive, and I was really consistent with my driver. Nobody cares about this, but I'm telling you anyway. I was consistent with my driver, like 270, 280, right down the middle. I'm never that consistent, and I'd feel great. And then this guy, his name was Mario. He would come up and he would outdrive me by about 70 yards every time. He was hitting it about 350, 360. It was unreal. Absolutely no short game, but dude could crush it off the tee. And we actually came in third.
How many teams were in it? 3?
Smart ass. Like 60. We were like 64.
That's not bad.
We came in third. We finished 10 under.
Damn, that's not
And
bad.
the winner was 13, so we did pretty well.
Not too shabby, Robert. Not too shabby.
Well, it's a scramble, so you know.
Well, you know.
But anyway, anywho, doesn't matter. Go ahead. You were talking and I interrupted you.
No, I said that we've asked a lot of the audience questions. We've had Michael here for about an hour. Is there any parting things, Michael and or Rob, that you guys got before we sign off? Because apparently I've got a problem. We've got ants in the sink, and my wife is freaking out. I got to get down there and fix the ants in the goddamn sink. She's like, "We got ants." I was like, "Oh, damn it, we got ants." No good.
Yeah, Michael. Anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted?
You know, there's tons of stuff, but you know, probably the thing I always like to end off with is I'm not a lawyer, so you call me up, you send me an email, you ask me a question, you're not getting charged for it. Like, you can tell I love this stuff, and anything you guys want to know, just feel free to get a hold of me, and love to talk shop.
Cool. Well, that's we appreciate it. I know we've got some questions here, and I think what I'll do is I'll go through some of these questions that are posted on the site. Whatever we didn't get to, maybe I'll email them to you, and then we can post the answers back on the site just so folks can get their answers. Because I know we didn't get to everything, and some people were asking some pretty specific questions that specific to their circumstance. So maybe take those offline would be a better way to go. But Michael, I really do appreciate you taking the time. Guys, you can find them. Let everybody know again where they can find you online.
Yeah, HavanaControls.com and LuxadorHumidors.com. And like you said, have a smoke on us. We've got that giveaway going on for the Cigar Federation store. Come on down, guys. Love it.
Cool. Yeah, we appreciate it, guys. That's posted up. If you're watching on Cigar Federation, it's right there on the page. You guys can click through and get in. It's a raffle copter contest for $250 at the Cigar Federation store. So that's a pretty awesome giveaway.
That's some shit in there right there. That's gonna fix all your problems.
Rotate that stuff. Come on now.
Yeah. And yeah, now everybody go home and rotate your cigars.
Rotate your shit.
Watch them and talk nerdy to them because you haven't done it in a while. We all know you haven't. Guys, appreciate you guys hanging out. CigarFederation.com. At CigarFederation.com, pretty much everywhere. You can find me. I'm at Robbie Raz, pretty much everywhere. Logan is at Logan at Dell. Corporate Monkey, pretty much everywhere. We'll be back next week with Cordova Morales cigars. They've been around for a while, but they're new to me, so I'm eager to chat with them, and they've got some cool stuff. So we'll have more giveaways and everything as always. Guys, we appreciate it. Everybody have a good weekend, and it's Thursday, right? Yeah, it's almost the weekend. Everybody have a good weekend.
Yeah. And this slogan, don't forget to rotate your cigars.
That should be the sign-off now.
No, I mean, it's going to be just like fucking Bob Barker. I just thought of that shit. I was like, every time, rotate your cigars.
Have your pets spayed and neutered. What was that's on a Family Guy thing, isn't it? Or Brian, I know, had a comment about him. Like, oh, I said that.
I'm sure Family Guy made fun of Bob Barker.
Anyway, we're getting off topic. All right, guys, have a good weekend.
Rotate your cigars.
Rotate your cigars.